Alright, well, welcome back to the YouTube channel, guys. We're going to be working on old RedRum here. We got quite a few upgrades. Alright, well, we're going to be putting in a heat exchanger. We're going to be putting some bigger pulleys on the supercharger. We're also going to be upgrading the fuel system. But I have some more info on the car. I believe I have some old clips or something. I'll put them in now. Kind of go over what's going on with it. Alright, first thing we did to take this bumper off is we went ahead and took the wheel off. Then we took the inner fender out. So much easier to just take the whole thing out than try to half do it. There's quite a few little screws and stuff, but it's just so much easier to get it out of your way. Then there's, I believe, 3 bolts here, and there's 3 more bolts up on the top here that hold the bumper on. And there's only 2 clips, 2 wiring clips you got to pull off, which is this guy here. Actually, that's the only one you got to pop off. That is all your wiring to your bumper, to all your lights. All right, we got our bumper here. It comes off actually pretty easily, way better than I expected. Yep, this is the only one. This is the only clip that you have to take off. It's the whole wiring harness for the front bumper. All right. One thing I tried to take it off without taking out the marker light. So I just popped it out, and it was so much easier to get to these bolts that hold on the bracket here that holds the bumper in on the fender. If you just take this light out, you can get to these bolts so much easier. So again, it's just one of those things. Take it out of the way, make your life easier. All right, so now we're gonna go ahead and start taking the rest of the front of this car apart. We're gonna take the headlights out. We're gonna take the front crash bar off. We're gonna take most of the plastics off up front here, so we can go ahead and get ready to take the radiator out. So then we can get to the balancer, so we can get that swapped out with a new ATI dampener and our new pulleys and stuff. All right, well, to get this thing ready to start doing the supercharger pulleys, we're gonna take this all apart up front, so we can go ahead and when we get down to the pulley, we can get the pulley off, get the new one on, and we can change out our supercharger one too. So with that being said, since we have this all apart, we're also going to be adding a heat exchanger on this. This car originally was an SS and not a ZL1, but now it has the LT4 in there. So right now it has 0 heat exchanger, so adding in a heat exchanger is going to help, because it would go into lit mode every now and then for inlet temps. It also still has the stock SS fuel pump in the tank. So right now the car is kind of detuned because we're running out of fuel system, but we got a new aeromotive one that's gonna be real nice. We'll be able to put some more power down. We won't have to detune anything, especially now that we're gonna be spinning the supercharger a lot harder. All right, we're gonna go ahead and take this headlight out first. It's a 7mm. Alright. I got all these out. Alright, so whenever you start taking stuff apart like this, it's so much easier to just bag and tag things too. Throw them all in a little Ziploc bag right on where they go. So when you're putting this thing back together, 4 months later, it's a lot easier to remember where everything goes. All right, we got the headlight out. It's 4 bolts. You got the 3 here, and there is one on the bottom. But I also took out the rubber piece that was here. Makes it easier. There's only 2 connections, just these guys on the headlight. Pretty simple. All right, then we also just rinse and repeat it over here. We got that out. Then we're also going to take this guy out. Then we're going to start working on. We'll take the crash bar out. All this other stuff, so then we can get back in there. Those right there are probably gonna have to get deleted. Who wants a horn anyway when the car's loud as shit? You don't need to honk at anybody, just give them a little rip. All right, we got all the other stuff off here, but then there's these 4 13mm bolts. But then I also noticed there's one of these little guys here. To get that is up under here. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna go ahead and take all this ducting off too, since it's got to come out anyway. We're gonna go ahead and take all this side out. We'll take all this out and all that out. Then we'll go ahead and take the crash bar out of there. All right, so here we go. We got this side apart, so when you're getting this off, you have one clip here, one back there. Hard to see it. You got one there, you got one here, one here. Then you got one that goes in over here. But then to get the brake duct out, you have the one that goes right here, but then you also have one that goes up inside here, which is kind of a pain in the butt to get out. But other than that, it isn't too bad on this side. All right, now we got the passenger side out. We're gonna go ahead and work on the driver's side, which looks to be twice as hard to get apart than that side. So let's go ahead and start tearing this one apart. All right, this is what we're talking about. It's gonna be a lot harder to get to because you got this guy in the way of getting that back one out. That's right back there. I don't know if you can see that. But it's right there. That back one. So it's kind of one of those awesome engineering things, but it's just kind of a pain in the ass to get to it. With, I'm not sure what this is. Some kind of vacuum canister of some sort. All right, well, let's see if we can't bust our knuckles and get that out of there. All right, so this is kind of what I'm thinking. I'm gonna go ahead and take these 2 bolts out here. I'm gonna then pop this guy off, try to drop this down so then I can get to that clip in the back. But before I go and start unhooking anything, all these sensors and stuff, I'm gonna go ahead and disconnect the battery in the back. Yeah, before I start disconnecting any of the sensors or anything like that, I like to disconnect the battery so you don't throw some kind of weird code in there or anything. Do you need to do that? Probably not, but better be safe than sorry. So we'll go ahead and disconnect that, then we'll start taking some of those sensors and stuff off. All right, so I made an executive decision to go ahead and take this off first, the crash bar. Because it was almost impossible to get to the bolts here. So this one is super easy to get to. That one, not so much yet. We should be able to with a couple of wrenches. Because you got a bolt and nut on it. So, all right, here we go. All right, we got that all off now. Got everything exposed. So now we're gonna go ahead and drain the radiator. Then we'll start getting the condenser out. Then we'll get the radiator out. Then we can start working on swapping that pulley out. But first, we're gonna drain the radiator. I'm gonna try to keep all the fluid. I mean, it has probably less than 2,000 miles, 3,000 miles on the coolant. So it'd be cool to be able to keep it. I'm gonna use some old hose here. I'm gonna put it on the bottom of that and drain it into the jug. And hopefully it'll still be good and we'll reuse it and not have to buy as much. All right, well, let's see how well this works. so good. Only a little bit leaking right there. All right, so that's what we got out of there. I'm sure there's more, but right now the car is kind of on an angle, so it isn't going to drain all of it out, which is fine because it saved most of it we can in the car. That's also helpful. But I'm sure we'll have to drain some more when we get ready to yank the radiator out and we start popping hoses off. But at least we saved some, and that always helps, especially being Dutch, trying to save money where you can. All right, next we're going to go ahead and get the condenser out. We're going to pop these guys off. The condenser doesn't have any refrigerant in it at all. We didn't put any more in after we put the new motor in the car, so that's cool. We just crack it open and go. We don't have to worry about extracting none of that stuff out of there or just letting it out, because, you know, why would you do that? That's bad for the world. We got that disconnected, so now we're going to go ahead and try to take this shield off. I put this step stool here to set the oil cooler on, so then it's not just dangling by the lines. We're going to go ahead and take this off. Looks like we got a push pin here. Then we got some like metal clips that hold on to the radiator, like 2 or 3 of those on each side. So I'll pop those off. We'll go from there. If you guys don't have one of these, you definitely need to go get one. Go to Harbor Freight, super cheap, like $10. Lifesaver. Compared to just trying to use a regular screwdriver and put a needle nose or something. It's worth every penny. Cut them off. We'll get some more of those. Instead of kind of fighting, pull them off, we'll just go ahead and get some cutters and just snip them right out of there. Sense of messing around. Alright, now we're going to start taking all this stuff out real quick. So take the intake tube off. Obviously, I already had that off earlier. Let's see what we got going on here. Let's go ahead and get the fan out of our way and we can really kind of see what we got happening. We got the tank cooler line. All right, now we got the radiator out of there. The easiest way to do it was actually to take the oil cooler off the bottom, get that right out of the way, then take the radiator out of from the bottom, because the tabs inside the radiator you'd have to angle it really just right to get it out through the top. And it's kind of a pain in the ass. So yeah, coming out through the bottom was a much better idea. All right, now we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna take all the radiator hoses off, so then we can get to the crank pulley, the dampener, harmonic balance, whatever you want to call it. We can get to that a whole lot easier, not have to worry about working around nothing. We can get that pulled out of there so we can get our new one put on, so then we can get our new pulleys so we can spin the shit out of this blower.